Hey everyone, it's Aaron Hughes from FuDog Group, and in this video, I want to share with you a really useful way of thinking about starting new projects. So I know I love new projects. I love the starts of things, and I think you might too. I think a lot of people do. We just love that sort of fresh, blank page of possibility in whatever it is that we want to do. And for this for this video, I'm going to use some examples like start a podcast, write a book, do a video series. So those are three examples, even from my own life and from people I talk to all the time, of things they want to start. Sometimes people don't always get a chance to finish them. And I've talked about this in the past, in past videos. If you scroll back, you're probably going to see something about how it's really easy for us to start a project or a goal or set a resolution that's based on best case scenario when we should really be setting it based on worst case scenario. But in this video, I want to give you another way of thinking about these things. So let's say you want to start a project, whatever project that is, it doesn't really matter. But let's say you want to start a project and it's something you want to do, an ongoing thing, kind of like I want to do a podcast or I want to write a book. Even I want to work out. Like it doesn't just have to apply to business, it can be anything. So you've got this great idea in your mind and you're sort of inspired by the possibility of what it could become. But it's easy to get tripped up in life, right? As I mentioned, we sometimes not accounting for the worst case scenario of trying to do this project, this podcast, this book, this workout, even while we're traveling or while we're busy or while we have other things going on in life. And so we end up starting projects and then um, not completing them. I don't want to say failing at them, but I guess that's ultimately what it is, not bringing them to completion. We start a project, we don't bring it to completion. So how can you get more projects brought to completion? And here we can take an inspiration from the world of TV. So years ago, when there was like network television, they still do a version of this now, I guess, on Netflix. But years ago in network television, instead of just starting a TV series, they would do a made for TV movie. And then if people loved it, they would turn it into a series. And so often the first episode or two of a show was kind of a movie, and then they would just gauge interest. And if it got picked up, if got interest was built, then they would make it into a show. And that's why some TV shows end up with different characters in subsequent episodes than in the first one. Famously, the original Star Trek was like that. There was a different captain, I guess, than Captain Kirk. And the original pilot episode was almost like a made-for-TV movie, testing it out. Okay, it did well. Now let's run a series out of this. And then that's when they start to put in place all of the pieces that make it into a ongoing series. They still do that now on Netflix a little bit. You'll see a movie, and then the movie does well, and then it becomes a series later. And you can do the same concept in your life. Instead of thinking, I'm going to start a podcast, which is sort of this long commitment, and it's easy to feel like you fail if you don't do that regularly. Instead, just say, I'm going to record one interview with someone that I respect and admire. Just one interview. Record the interview. Great. Did it do well? That's awesome. Then go on, and if you liked it and you want to try again, do another one. I'm going to record a second interview with someone I respect and admire and just string those together. Tim Ferriss started his podcast this way. Rather than saying, I'm going to start a podcast, he said something along the lines of, this isn't a direct quote, but something along the lines of, I'm going to do 10 interviews or 100 interviews or whatever his number was. He didn't have a series in mind, he had a set goal, almost like a pilot project. And the same applies to a book, too. I see a lot of people try starting to write a book and they don't finish it for a lot of reasons. I've talked about that in past videos too. It can be hard to write a book. You get in a couple chapters and then you give up. So stop thinking of trying to write a book. Instead, do a pilot project and write a short story. And that happens too. Actually, you'll see that quite often is short stories that become novels. And I had one on the tip of my tongue before I started this video, and now I can't think of it. But there is plenty of examples out there. So, uh, let's say you want to write a book, write a short story instead. Lower the bar, write that short story, get it out into the world, and see what happens. And then you can always turn it into a novel later. The same applies for anything else you want to do. In the non-business example, like working out, instead of saying I'm gonna start a new workout habit, why not go to the gym once and just say I feel like going to the gym today. I'm not saying I'm gonna work out every day. I'm gonna work out today, and I'm gonna make it fun and enjoyable. Have a great time. And that can be true for anything, any habit, any project that you have in life or in business. Stop thinking of it as an ongoing series that you are hoping to last forever and just do one thing. I was talking to somebody just yesterday about doing webinars. And I'm suggesting and recommending that they do webinars, but it can be daunting for people to think, I need to do a webinar every single month for the rest of my life. So don't think that way. Just think, hey, I'm going to show up on Zoom one time, have a great time, and whoever shows up, that's going to be my webinar. And I'm going to serve them. And if I get one done, let's see how it goes after that. So take that pilot approach instead of building out the series right away. And I think you'll find that it makes projects way more fun to do, and then you're also kind of testing to see what sticks, what do you need to tweak ongoing. So it's a great approach to any kind of new project or habit. I hope that was helpful. I'm doing that in my life. I would recommend you do it as well. Put in the chat below what you are going to do that for in your life or business. All right. Hope you have a great day, everyone. I will see you on the next video.